I got myself here a traditional glazed donut, and we're gonna give this a shot. Kimchi.
After spending a great deal of time hiding in the wheat fields of Korea, ailing my poisoned brain, I decided to visit a new plane, Japan. A country of great substance, where the dead technologies of our Western past are revered like senior citizens in the current year.
This is me and my girlfriend.
Having spent the past decade allowing synthetic nostalgia to penetrate my eyes and ears unwillingly, the time came to enter a new realm, one where phone booths and CD players continued to thrive. And being a 35-year-old who spends his time with dancing milkmaids isn't frowned upon, but is actually looked at as an encouraging sign of reproduction. Japan, the birthplace of the arcade and some of history's most memorable games. Japan, a country where suicide is looked at as a career move.
I'm so sorry about this, Logan. This is supposed to be fun vlog.
It's where we will be spending the duration of this season of Let's Play with LowRes. In late 2018, I took a trip across the globe to visit South Korea and Japan. While revising scripts on the flight from Seoul to Tokyo, it had occurred to me that nearly 6 months had passed without a proper episode of Let's Play with LowRes. And with only hours remaining on my flight, I thought this trip may serve as a grand opportunity to revitalize the series and do something different. Perhaps on this go-around, the series will generate more interest, so I can spend less of my time narrating Turkish PowerPoint presentations. Wouldn't that be a nice prospect? A man of my age is allowed to have his dreams, is he not? This is Shibuya, Japan. A hub of culture, life, and rotten perversion.
Alter their life cycles, and we can do that using temperature.
I'm just kidding, everybody. I'm not a Japanese man.
We are ushering in a brand new era of Let's Play. Because, let's face it, boys and, gay boys, because that's the two demographics here. We don't really have any females. I mean, there's like 2 girls that pop up every so often. And as far as I'm concerned, you guys are men. You have penises between your legs. Look, I don't mean to get vulgar today, but this is a brand new era for Let's Play because, honestly, having Let's Play in the title of a video, especially a video that hardly has anything to do with video games, and then releasing that on YouTube is what is considered poison. Unless your name is Ninja or PewDiePie Racist Reaction, then you're not going to get any clicks. This is going to be something different. We're calling this LP Japan. LP, long play, EP, extended play. There's like a music term for that as well. It's just vague enough. So it's not going to be entirely video games here. We're going to divide the program a little bit. I have a new correspondent coming in who's going to be talking about the movie adaptations or origins of these games that I'm playing. Yes, we are talking about the cinematologist Jacob A. Miller. He's going to be Skyping in. And by Skyping in, I mean he gave us a videotape in the mail. I'm going to play that videotape. I have a VCR beneath this desk. Today's game is going to be Street Fighter 2. And when I was just a lad, I never played Street Fighter 2. As a matter of fact, I never even saw Street Fighter 1 at the video store. I always went off to the Hub in Boston, which was the premier video store and game rental spot. And they always had Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2, and you had Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 2 Turbo. All these variations of Street Fighter 2. As a matter of fact, that's something that really deeply annoys me. As a boy, because Street Fighter 2 was so popular and Street Fighter 1, people just shrugged it off. There was no interest at all in that game. I thought that the series was just weird and started at Street Fighter 2. I had no idea that there was an original game. When I was a kid on the schoolyard, we never talked about Street Fighter 2. Maybe that was just a little bit before my time. Again, it was all about Mortal Kombat, which I find to be a superior game in every way. You know, those characters looked realistic. These are just like anime guys, you know? Kind of gay. Mortal Kombat, you know, you would do the thing on the schoolyard where you're talking to your friends, and it's kind of the same thing that women in the 90s did when Sex and the City was on. It's like, oh, you're a Carrie, I'm a Samantha, you know, because it's a bunch of old whores. But when you're a boy, you know, you want to be the cool guy. You know, you want to be flexing your shit. You want to be kicking some rectum. So you'd be on the schoolyard, and I'd be talking to my friend Tyrell, and he would say, I want to be a Liu Kang, which made no fucking sense because he wasn't Chinese, but I just went along with it. For me, I'm like, I gotta be Johnny Cage. And Johnny Cage was like the cool Hollywood guy. He had the shades on. I lost my shades. I don't know where the fuck they are. My confidence has been dwindling ever since. Who do you want to be from Street Fighter? You know, I see a lot of the women going to these conventions, these really deviant conventions. They say they're for like video games and anime and nerdery. But I really just think it's pervert conventions, because you see these women with these thick-ass thighs dressing up as Chun-Li or whatever, I don't know what her name is, and, you know, you get these just disgusting, horny virgins frothing at the mouth everywhere they walk. It's a weird, sadomasochistic festival, truly. I avoid those things like the plague. I wouldn't be caught dead in one. But Street Fighter never had as memorable of characters, except for, arguably, that one green guy with like the orange Super Saiyan hair, or maybe M. Bison. I also thought that Tyson Chicken was called Bison Chicken and that it was a tie-in to the Street Fighter franchise. So, point of the story is, I was retarded as a boy, and stem cells cured me. There's like a good shot that I was actually brain damaged as a kid. I went to kindergarten 1 and 2, and anytime I tell people that there was a kindergarten 2, nobody believes me. I have a photo of my class. So we're going to be getting to this game. But before we do that, I have to play that videotape. I got it somewhere over here. Excuse me. This tape right here, ignore that it says Gone with the Wind Part 1, was sent in by the cinematologist only hours ago via FedEx. And this will contain something regarding the Street Fighter movie, which is, for all intents and purposes, not a classic whatsoever. It is a Raul Julia classic, probably his second best film after Curse of the Spider-Woman. I think there was a report that Jean-Claude Van Damme showed up to the set drunk every single day. We do like to celebrate the Raul Julia classics on Let's Play with LowRes, or LP2, excuse me, LP Japan. We're going to pop this tape in, see what the cinematologist has to say, and then we're going to get to the gameplay, because this is all about celebrating media. This is one of the cool things about Japan is it seems like the universe forked off into two separate streams around the mid-90s, and one was the United States and the Western world. Convenience is priority. You know, you have your iPod Touch, you got your cell phone. It's all very quick and it's cheap, and you can't enjoy the texture and aesthetic of it, which is unfortunate. But then you go over to Japan and you see a lot of these otherwise dead mediums thriving. You will see arcades, you will see CD shops, you will see CD players on the bus. I saw plenty of kids listening to CD players with like regular old headphones and not even earbuds. It's almost revered. It's truly a bizarre thing to see what is considered niche here be celebrated all across the globe. I wonder what it's like in Turkey. I wonder what's going on in Turkey right now. When I left Seoul, South Korea, I was pretty bummed out. I had visited this country, this foreign country, never having left the United States once before in my life, except to go to the Caribbean once, but that's kind of, I think that's U.S. territory, so it hardly counts. But we're in Asia, we're in Seoul. We took a trip out there for a wild week. I saw Holly's Coffee, I saw Earl Grey tea cakes. It was quite the time. I was celebrating left and right. I had myself a blast. So, needless to say, I thought, you know, Japan's got it's got a high bar to live up to. But boy howdy, it not only surpassed my expectations in every way, but it really downgraded Korea for me. I can't look at Seoul, South Korea without thinking it's a dump now. I mean, I saw people eating dog in a back alley. You know, it's not a racist joke. I actually saw dog ribs on a plate. I'm not fucking around right now. That's something they do there. But in Japan, you go to Japan, and they got anime playing all along the subway system. And this is something that I thought was really overhyped by Westerners. Is, you know, weebs out there. I probably look like a weeb walking around, strutting my stuff all along those busy streets. Here I am thinking I'm leaving Seoul, entering Japan, a handsome Korean man, and you can't really think and act properly unless you were drinking a proper amount of water per day. It's important to stay hydrated because things fall apart when people are no longer hydrated. It's a very overrated thing. As a matter of fact, I think some lady died in a contest drinking water, so you gotta be careful. You don't wanna get too hydrated, but for example, Kony 2012. Kony 2012 was the most popular video on the internet thanks to that one guy. I think his name was like Jason Schmidt or something. I don't know. I don't remember the guy's name. He had the most popular video. He was making a difference. He was about to save like 50 child soldiers. And then 1 week passes and he didn't drink enough water. And what happened? He's wandering around the streets, jerking off in his hand, throwing feces at parked cars. You know, he's a maniac. He ruined his whole career in life. But I'm straying from the point now. I didn't really receive any kind of disrespect. I wasn't looked at as weird or funny. There's a big emphasis on American culture there. They don't really seem to necessarily understand it, but they have like a two-dimensional version of it there that is almost based in 1980s corporate capitalism. It's very fascinating to me how all of their businesses seem to aspire to be like McDonald's in the 70s, 80s, 90s. And I have been loving every second that I've been here. I'm probably going to settle down, buy a farm, grow some crops, and I haven't seen anybody eat dog here, so there's a plus there. It's an entire country built on the Super Nintendo system. But let's get to this tape, and then we will finally crack open Street Fighter 2. All right.
Well, hello, my interns of Cinema Diagnostics. I am the cinematologist, and today we have quite the interesting subject to study, that being Street Fighter. And not the one from 2009, which actually caused a bit of a stir at the cinematic CDC and gave the film community something to really rehab and heal over for quite some time. We're not going to be talking about that anytime soon, I can assure you of that. What we are talking about is the 1994 Street Fighter, with a star-studded cast including Jean-Claude Van Damme and... yeah. So this one is interesting because it fell in the midst of a video game adaptation boom in the cinema universe, with parents shelling out just dozens of dollars for their kids to be distracted by these games so they can read the paper and pretend they love their wives. They had movies to fall back on too, because the studios had to just get into the cinematic gluttony and put all the money into adaptations to try to make a quick buck, but it didn't pan out. You could look at similar films like the Super Mario Brothers movie or the Mortal Kombat movies, which weren't critical or real financial successes either. This one falls in the middle. The interesting thing about this one is that it does have its own identity, but what I register with it is the technocratic identity it seems to have with its visual and aesthetic appeal for a lot of the futuristic type movies of the time, like Demolition Man for instance. So with that in mind, is this one that we should go back and revisit with a newfound nostalgia because that's not overdone at all? Or can we actually judge it out of time on its own merits and see if it's worthy of any kind of redemption whatsoever? I'm just having a feeling I'm going to have to write a prescription up for this one, but interns, let's take a look at this subject.
And we are starting up this game, Street Fighter 2, The World Warrior. Now, I don't really recall that subtitle being attached. I feel like this is one of those Berenstein things, because I've never heard of that before in my life, and I feel like that is something I would be aware of. But we're going to enter the game mode and check out the panel of characters here. We got quite a few. We've got 8 to choose from. M. Bison was apparently not available for this, otherwise I would have picked him. We have Ryu, who is kind of a, weird-looking Japanese interpretation of a white person. He's got a potato-shaped head, really just kind of featureless. Does have a decent cheekbone here. We will be playing as Ryu for the time being, facing off against Ken, and let's do well at this button masher. Now, for me personally, my method of fighting in these games was always, you know, staying back and trying to kick the person in the head repeatedly. Avoid as much damage as possible. It doesn't look like we're going to win this particular match, though, unfortunately. Ah, shit. And Ken gets round 1. That's no good. Yeah, I know I lose. Who are these people on the boat cheering this on? Are these like 1920s American immigrants coming from Italy? They're dressed in very peculiar fashions, I will say that. 1940s attire. Got like a detective there. You got Telly Savalas. That's a good reference for my 20-year-old audience. And it seems like we're fucked. It's game over for Ryu. Really the worst character that I could have picked. Oh, what the fuck? It's in Chinese. Could we go with E. Honda, Blanca, Gule, Ken, Chun-Li, Zangief? I've never heard of that guy before. Zangief. He looks like a trucker that hurts women. Dallaism. This is an Indian god, I believe. I think we're gonna go with Dallaism. If I wait more than 3 seconds, it picks the character for me. Oh, he's kind of a weird guy. He looks like one of the bad guys from Indiana Jones. Damn, Ken is just kicking ass. Whoa! He's got these weird elastic legs. That was really peculiar. Really horrifying. If I had understood that he had this weird growth where he could stretch his legs out as such, I'd have been implementing that much sooner. And that might have made all the difference. But we really have to do something here, because we're on a losing streak. Damn! He got me again! This is unbelievable. Oof, that is gruesome. I don't ever recall seeing blood in these games. Let's try out E. Honda. He seems like he's a bigger fellow. He might be able to take down Ken in no time. But he will be slower. That's something to be cautious of. He's going to be good for those... Yeah, we got to get up close and get in the attacks. Right now, we are currently winning. Boom! We got the first round. E. Honda was always going to be the right pick. We need to celebrate Asian culture with a proper Asian. Otherwise, you know, you look like Matt Damon in The Great Wall. Who would ever pick Ken? If you're going to the arcade as a child, he's really the least interesting looking character. I mean, Ryu, I guess you could make a point that he's kind of boring looking, and he is, but he's at least the lead character. Ken? Who is Ken? Come on, one more. What? Fuck! That's not okay. We were so close. We were one single punch away, and Honda would have done it. Christ. What do they say in Stephen King novels? Christ on a cracker. Jesus Christ bananas. He has some of the weirdest dialogue that nobody says. You're a whore master. Shit like that. Nobody, and I've been to Maine, nobody talks like that. We're getting close. We're getting close. Can it be it? Yes. Yes, it is over. Honda has done it. We are going to be moving on to round 2. Finally. But before we do that, let's take a look at one of Japan's largest sex shops, because I have all this footage I got to put to use of me in Japan. Nerd Alley was supposed to be a really cool place, a place of interest, but I showed up a little bit too late. And unfortunately, and the new round is starting here, so we'll talk about it later in the shop. The only thing that seemed to be open at that time, which was around, it was still relatively early. It was only like 10 o'clock or so. Fuck! You see how close that was? The only thing that was open around that time was a 7-level sex shop, with each level holding all kinds of different perversions. It was truly horrendous. It was horrible. There were businessmen in there. Very, very disturbing behavior. Everybody. Wow, I got him. I got him. I thought I was done there. The people there were true blue creeps. You know, I don't need all that weird, sexy stuff. Me, I just need a good old-fashioned kiss on the lips, and I'm ready to go. So we're going to be investigating that place and those people that were there after Honda either wins or loses this match. and it doesn't look good for Honda. God damn it. I'll see you after the break. We are heading out to Nerd Alley, also known as Iwo Jima. This whole section of Japan is dedicated to pure and simple nerddom. And rumor has it, and this is from my party, I didn't look this up myself, there is a vending machine that produces artificially soiled panties. And this is a very exciting prospect for yours truly, not in a sexual manner, but just in a novelty fashion. We're going to check these things out, get the inside scoop, so you never have to leave the Western world. Unless you're already here, in which case, have a blast.
We're currently active in the strip, just looking around, exploring. A lot of places seem to be closed. We saw Beard Popper, which is a Boston cream puff shop that was Japanese in origin. Again, just looking around thus far, nothing particularly skeevy. There was a McDonald's, so I mean that's as bad as it gets. It's already 9:30 or close to it.
It's 10.
It's 10 o'clock. The subway stop's running at 11:30, so we got to make our time here pretty brief. Let's play catch up, man. There's perverts on this street. What exactly is this photo space for employees only for? What does this love assist entail? I'm not going to be able to post that. Perversion. Unbelievable. Sick men. I've seen some peculiar things in my day. We visited a sex shop. Unbelievable stuff. If there's one big takeaway from this whole trip to Japan, it's that this is a country of pedophiles.
And we're back.
We're going to have a second go at Taoism, and we'll see if E Honda can pick up the slack and win. It's kind of bullshit here. Everybody's a human character except for that green guy and apparently him. This is just going to show the limitations of human flesh. This is not okay. Honda comes out on top. Here we go. We're facing off against Paul Phoenix. Paul Phoenix wins. Now, Paul Phoenix here, he's an army man, but I think it's time for us to show him what a
Real man looks like.
Reality is, he's probably a married guy. His wife's at home. Someone's plowing her, and that's just the life of being in the service. Your wife is getting fucked relentlessly by strange men, and there's nothing you can do about it because you got to kill Iraqis or something. I don't know. I'm not trying to disrespect the military here. Got a lot of respect for the military, but those wives are whores. Jesus. My favorite scene in Full Metal Jacket is when Private Joker's girlfriend is sending him videotapes of her getting sexed up by these Vietnamese men because he's got this thing in his head where he hates the Vietnamese because he's fighting them. They're killing his people, but he just has this weird weakness where he loves seeing Vietnamese men bed his wife. That's what Stanley Kubrick was trying to communicate in that film, is the complexity of the human psyche. Okay, E Honda, this is your last shot. I know I said we'd quit if we didn't win, but we can't be disrespected like that. I mean, look at all these characters from Top Gun raising their hands up in the air, going crazy for Paul Phoenix here. Look at all those mounds of flesh. Yeah, he's gonna be dead by 50. Jesus fucking Christ. Unbelievable. Well, I'm sorry, but I can't be a dishonest man. And so there we have it. The season premiere of LP Japan ends in tragedy, much like the strike on Pearl Harbor. Unfortunately, E Honda could not get the job done, meaning that Paul Phoenix was the winner of Street Fighter II, and he is the World Warrior. We need to sharpen our mind, sharpen our spirit, and come back stronger than we were today. In the meantime, I will be checking out Akira, the book, which, it's in a writing that I can't read. In the video game of Akira, released for the Nintendo Entertainment System, was quite the horror show. You know, sometimes I take a look at Akira or Akira the movie, and I get these weird, I wouldn't quite call them flashbacks because they're too real. It's almost like my brain is opening up a new channel of reality and sending me to the past, where I was haunted for 3 hours. You know, maybe I just have to cleanse my brain with some good old-fashioned Ozu. Good morning. It's about a family in post-World War II Japan that buys a television. I don't know how warmer you could get. Perhaps the radiation of Hiroshima, I don't know. Oh! Gotta take better care of our discs. Truly a great film. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.